Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Sridhar Chichalaji joins us on our weekly podcast, and we're going to be talking about many things, very, very important, the latest stuff about Iran being bombed and the consequences, as well as how did Asim Munir wangle a White House lunch meeting, who worked at it, who's the guy behind it, and we all know this person. You will understand who he is. All this and more. Also, what happened at the G7 meeting. Let's welcome Sridhar Chichalaji. Sridharji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. How are you, sir?
Namaskar and good morning to you. Very good morning to you in California. I'm doing very well, sir. Nice to be here on this interesting Sunday when the world is going to wake up to some very interesting developments going on around the world.
Yes, indeed, sir. And a couple of things before we jump right into it. Viewers, there was a press conference at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. That's 5 a.m. my time. And in that, the Defense Secretary and I think one of the members of the armed staff also was there. He laid out what is happening and that, they have obliterated the nuclear facilities of Iran. Iran has vowed revenge, but how they are going to do it, we don't know. Looks like they are messing with the GPS of many ships in the Straits of Hormuz. This is the latest information I have. And Russia has said that there are many countries willing to give nuclear warheads to Iran. Now, this could be a rhetorical statement. I mean, if you're going to give away your prized possessions, what will you have? And what is to prevent Iran from directing them at you? So the sellers also have to think a little bit. These are all rhetoric said in the heat of the moment, in my opinion. Take it away, sir.
Wonderful. I think that's a great context that you have set, Shriji. First and foremost, I think the attacks have happened. And we woke up to the news that US has participated and took out those 3 nuclear sites, and one of them supposed to be storing the nuclear warheads. So they seem to have moved ahead, notwithstanding the fact that President Trump had indicated he will make a decision in 2 weeks. Remember that about less than 24 hours ago, he had indicated he will make a decision in 24 hours or 2 weeks on what the pursued strategy would be with Iran. But lo and behold, they moved ahead with the attack. And obviously, the 2 countries which have basically said, it's great and this is what is needed. It is going to change the course of the history. So obviously, Benjamin Netanyahu is fully behind and supported and thanked President Trump. And Trump said, there is no option other than for Iran to come to the negotiating table and agree to the terms. Everybody knows that Iran is not going to come to the negotiating table. What Iran has promised is not only retaliatory attacks on Israel, but now they have indicated all US citizens, US assets, US personnel will be the targets for Iran anywhere in the world. So the latest that there could be some repercussions, at least in 2 states in United States. Texas is obviously one of them.
Yep,
3G.
I was going to say.
Yeah, exactly. Texas is one of them. So you can see, just if you go along the there is no support from the Democratic Party. The usual people, AOC and Rashida and Hakeem Jeffries, all have condemned President Trump's action and saying that acting unilaterally without the consultation of the House and without getting a approval from the House is not an appropriate mechanism that the president has used. Obviously, the Republicans, most of them have endorsed the action. There is very cautious this is the first time. Remember Gulf War I, Gulf War II, and even Libya. There's coordinated actions from the other allies of United States. In this instance, there is very, very cautious support from the usual allies of the United States, namely UK, France, Germany, Japan, Australia, and so on. So Australia has said, we need to be cautious that this doesn't escalate. We need to de-escalate. Japan has said that the consequences are unknown, so we need to de-escalate the tension, that it doesn't spread. All those glorious words, but we know that this is now a contagion that it is going to spread fairly all around the world. Obviously, we'll cover in G6 how G6, I use the word G6 because G6 plus 1 is G7. We'll cover some of these topics one more time, which is to say what exactly transpired during G7 and how there was very little support. So Trump has made, he no longer would like to be called a taco. Trump again chickens out. He says, I am now salsa. So I've gone and dropped the biggest bombs, and effectively, is Iran's nuclear ambitions are a toast. So the story therefore is that you have no choice but to come to the negotiating table. Otherwise, we will, do further actions from which Iran would find it very hard to get back. Now, in the meanwhile, Iran has been launching attacks into Israel. They have attacked a science laboratory. They have attacked the scientist homes. They have chosen civilian targets. So they have been causing some damage, significant civilian kind of damage in Israel. And Israel has also indicated Iran has also indicated that it is not going to stop, and it has got capacity to infringe further damage. While this is going on, we have also seen, I'm sure Sree and others would have covered, there has been a regular supply of munitions with Chinese planes landing in Iran. What exactly are in those planes and what exactly are the supplies? We don't know, but Chinese planes have been landing in Iran during this particular phase. That's number one. Number two, Iran has been speaking with Russia and Qatar and some other allies to see how some of the shipments, the crude oil shipments, can still go through that region. And that discussion is taking place because Iran doesn't want to be economically choked, and they certainly are not the targets of Israel and US. That's another discussion that is taking place, and Iran is kind of doesn't want to be, exactly similar to the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia continued to supply its crude through alternative routes while the war was going on, Sree. So there's a number of actions, actions and activities, notwithstanding the fact that this attack has happened, and this attack was expected. And Khomeini as well has apparently nominated one of three successors to succeed him in the case of he losing his life.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's pivot to the next important topic, which was the G7. We all know that President Donald Trump left G7 halfway through. And in fact, I think he left G7 even before Prime Minister Modi landed there. And there was a lot of speculation that, he didn't have the face to meet with Modi. They were supposed to be, on the sidelines meeting. That didn't happen. And then there was, of course, the follow-up by way of a 35-minute conversation after he went back to White House. He invited Prime Minister Modi, and I think Prime Minister Modi was smart enough to not accept that one because he figured that Trump will have both Asim Munir and Modi, and then equate them at the same place and claim that he had brokered the ceasefire. All that, there definitely was something that was afoot. So that Modi did not fall for it. But people are very curious as to what the real reason was for Trump to leave so early, because after all, the decision to defer within 2 weeks, that came 48 hours later. So what was the rush? That's the question uppermost in everybody's minds. I heard a little birdie came and whispered in your ear what the real reason was. Sir, please share it with us.
I think the real reason was that the Department of Defense and the intelligence and the armed forces were ready and in a state of preparation to launch this attack. And they felt all the intelligence that they have gathered, threat of enrichment, complete enrichment, and going nuclear was almost imminent. So while the shadow of 2 weeks to make a decision was to fool the world, but the decision was to not only give the order to go ahead with the attack, but also to simultaneously plan in the event of a major kind of a contagion or other types of activities. How do you create a kind of a safe package out of Iran? I think the only country with whom they could discuss that was, obviously, relationship is not good with Iraq. The relationship, Saudis do not want any bar of this. They closed the border. And none of the other bordering nations had anything. So the only bordering nation was Pakistan. So was to discuss whether Pakistan would be supportive in case of some kind of mechanisms to move people out. That was one. Obviously, the second thing was whether the Pakistani air bases, whatever is left for use, can be used by the US forces in terms of potential launch pads. I think these were some of the things that they were to discuss. So he left the meeting, in abrupt day one, immediately after day one. But even as he entered and walked into the meeting, unlike the presidents of the past, there was complete lack of decorum. It was very clear that if you ever get a chance, see the video, the whispers that went on between Macron and the Italian Prime Minister, they were whispering to each other as Trump sat down. Trump never looked at the other leaders, and the other leaders were neither warm or welcoming of the President of the United States. So there was very clear dissatisfaction as he sat down on three fronts. One, President Trump was more pro-Russia and anti-Ukraine, and whereas the rest of the EU leaders wanted more support from United States in terms of both funding as well as ammunition so that Ukraine can continue to sustain the war. So obviously the G6 leaders were against what they were on the opposite side of the Trump's policy. That's on the first one. The second one, which is critical, they were not supportive of the war sustaining, allies participating, and continued usage of weapons of destruction that was creating harm, and pursuing a strategy of discussions with Iran. So both on the attack on Iran, they were not supportive. On the Russian side, they were supportive of Ukraine rather than Russia. And then it's obviously they were not supportive of participating in an attack. And this basically meant that they had no time to discuss other pressing items, most notably the fiscal issues that are confronting the world. And second, to come up with some kind of a security deterrence framework given the challenges. And they also had no opportunity to discuss South China Sea, because G7 or G6 eventually passed a resolution condemning the actions of China, which China has refuted, but that was passed without US being present, Sree.
Thank you so much, sir. And now let's get to the best part of this whole thing, which was how did the lunch meeting of General Asim Munir come about? Now, it is believed that 2 days before this lunch meeting, General Asim Munir spent a lot of time in various DOD meetings where I think he got some sort of an idea, or maybe it was marching orders. I don't know. Sir, I'm hoping you can share some light on that. Also, the guy behind all this stuff looks like he's a Republican.
Is a Republican, very well known, but remained in the backdrop. Mr. Sajid Tahrir, fairly well-known Republican. He has participated in 2016, 2020, and 2024 conventions. He runs American Muslims for President Trump, American Muslims for Republicans. So he has a very strong, connections. It's quite possible that some of the votes in especially two states, Wisconsin and Michigan, helped President Trump. He is very well liked by President Trump. He's also claimed to fame is that he wants to participate and work in patching up the India-Pakistan relationship. there's no doubt is a very well-known Pakistani and married to an Indian lady from the film industry. So therefore,
Really? Who?
Your guess is very as good as mine, Shriji. I mean, no, I'll tell you the name. I mean, what Nair?
Sir.
Meera Nair?
Huh?
Meera Nair?
Really?
Yeah.
I thought she was married to somebody of African descent.
Oh, no. Sorry, I'm sorry. He's not the one. I'm sorry. You are right. He's married to no. I want to take back that. No, take back. So the Ugandan. We'll come to that in a minute. Mamdani.
Yeah.
So we'll come to Mamdani in a minute. So the story is that the he's got very strong connections into through South Asian community into the Indians. So you have seen he has conducted a number of India-Pakistan meetings as well. I mean, I'm talking about the US Indian Americans and Pakistani Americans with an intended approach. He is the same person who organized that meeting. If you recall, we covered in DGI Imran Khan. How come Imran Khan landed in Reagan International Airport? How come the State Department was not aware? How he made his way through? So he's the same person who has made his way. Apparently, he's also from 𝗤𝗍𝗍. He is from Punjab, the same state where Munir hails from, and both of them know each other. Clearly, he has used his clout in terms of making sure that that this meeting did take place. I know there's a lot of speculation about he was discussing minerals and rare earths and so on, Shriji. I think President Trump he may be erratic, he may be chaotic, he may be too smart to kind of fall into it. Having said that, the head of the Central Command has given voice of support to Pakistan to say that the ISIS in the Afghanistan region, the Pakistanis helped the US forces in terms of tackling a number of issues during that fateful period when they were withdrawing, Shriji.
Thank you so much, sir. And now let's move on to the rising wokeism and its consequences in America. Viewers, last week, of course, it has quietened down a bit, but last week, even as the riots raged in Los Angeles, we saw that many other cities were also erupting. But now it looks like it's in a bit of a control. Gavin Newsom has been in the forefront trying to not allow President Reagan to use the National Guard of California. That wound its way through courts. I think he has not been successful. And meanwhile, US continues to deport at the rate of about 1,000 every day. I'll give you the latest number in a minute. Sridharji, your thoughts. Do you think this wokeism is going to stop? Because there is some other nonsense coming down the pipeline in California. Sir, you are right. California is worse than New York State. I don't want New York State to emulate California. I mean, look, you're going to have your own version of Sadiq Khan.
We have. I mean, US and New York, California is a huge state, and I think it's in California, and very soon. I'm also worried about Texas as to what's going to happen to Texas, Shriji. Okay, now what we're discussing, there are 4 or 5 factors we want to touch. Okay, first and foremost, many of these processions and many of these activities that took place, Trump quite correctly called it, they're called paid professional protesters. They're not people who are protesting for the sake of the cause or advocacy, but many of them are paid protesters. This happened in New York with Black Lives Matter and other kinds of programs that prevailed at that point of time, in 2020 and 2021. So these are professional paid protesters, but they are being brought to run. Some of them have also been given a mandate that you can go and loot the shops and create enough kind of an arson. So therefore, that's the second trend that is creeping into the mainstream of society. The third, which is unusual, you had Palestinian flags and Mexican flags and other nations' flag, making its ground in those protests. What has Mexican flags got to do, or what is Palestinian flags? What has got to do with all this? It simply means that these people were injected into this and asked to hold and run the flags, and many of them, came, probably illegals came in. Now, two important things have happened simultaneously as we speak. I think yesterday or day before, there was a nationwide raid. They have picked up pretty close to 100,000 people who have violent crime records, and they're all going to be deported. That's number one. Number two, voluntarily jobs, according to Department of Homeland Security, close to 1 million people. I mean, she used to ask the question, what's good? Close to 1 million people have already left United States, gone back to their respective countries, recognizing that more hurt is coming. So this is the third kind of a trend that we are seeing in United States. The fourth trend that we are seeing is many of them with all the baggage from their respective nations or respective faith coming into mainstream politics. So we have a mayoral candidate in New York. What's his name, Sriji? Let me tell you what his name is. Zohran Mamdani. Zohran Mamdani, a Ugandan, they call it Ugandan, born in Bombay, married to his mother is Meera Nair, married to Meera Nair. And so Zohran wants to call himself a Ugandan. And he has told, he's clearly warned, I'm coming for Trump. Okay, I'm going to give enough troubles to Trump. And he wants to bring in some of the principles of Islamic faith. And he's called in United States, the term that is used in New York is he's a left liberal elite. Okay. And he says, as soon as if he becomes, first step is mayor, the second step is obviously to try for other roles. And what's his target? To prosecute Prime Minister Modi as war criminal. This is open for
sir, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap, and people will put out bile. The important takeaway here is for the Indian Americans who continue to vote Democrats, get your head out of shit. Guys, get your head out of the shit. 1 in 4 only reported Republican in 2024. What is wrong with you? How many of you live in New York, state of New York? Are you going to vote for this rascal? Sir, my sincere request, yes, Republicans got no chance in New York City. At least go for the lesser of the two evils. Please, my brothers and sisters, Indian American descent in New York City, vote carefully. Otherwise, you will regret this for the rest of your life. That statement about Modi is just something in the air.
Sriji, here's where I disagree. This is the trend of wokeism that has come in, which is namely, this is not US politics we are talking about. All these people are bringing their baggage from the respective countries and respective faiths and beliefs. And this is what they're bringing into mainstream US politics. It's not talking about how you improve the subways, how you improve the security, what you need to do in terms of improving. I mean, Manhattan right now is constant and continuous, like downtown San Francisco and downtown Boston is constantly under construction. Okay, it's a mess. So the security in Times Square itself is at stake. So these guys are talking about the wokeism and the new trend that is creeping in, which the Americans, forget the Indian Americans are not going to vote Republican. Let's be very clear, Sriji. They only will try to get the benefits, but they will not vote because the percentage has gone down, is not going up. But what we are witnessing in
if someone wants to, Sir, if someone wants to sign their own death warrant, nobody can stop them. Over to you.
Nobody can stop. Nobody can. Very soon it's coming. It's coming, which is namely that the moment these fellows sees that they're all enjoying their respective comforts and benefits, moment that gets taken out, that's when they'll feel, or probably they'll leave the country. Who knows? So the story is that whether it is Palestinian, whether it is Gaza, whether it is Hamas, whether it is some Islamic faith, or whether it is to do with the problems in Russia, the problems in Ukraine, all, or Iranian problem now is going to come. All these problems are now becoming mainstream local politics. This is the adventure of wokeism. Who are the first three people who critiqued US attacking Iran? Rashida, 𝗍𝗧, and the other third lady. These are the three people from the Democratic Party. So we have converted. And what has Modi got to do with New York or United States? Why should you bring Modi's name into the New York mayoral election, Sree? Why? So this is the new trend that we are seeing, and Indian Americans are not biting into it, Sree. They're not biting, and we'll continue to.
Thank you so much, sir. We still have. I mean, like I said, if you want to sign your own death warrant, be my guest. Just remember that these people are going to come for you. They wear the religion on their sleeve. Their priorities are mixed up. We've covered this many times, and you're seeing this in play. City of London is a city of shit, and Manhattan already was in bad shape. It's only going to get worse. Sir, let's take a look at this, our favorite topic. Viewers, I must acknowledge the help that Sridharji gave in helping me write this book, and the CCP interference was there for everyone to see, except that the Democrats would have none of it, because they knew they had stolen that election. They knew what had happened, and I was so afraid that I would get deplatformed that I did not even try to sell the book on Amazon. I'm just selling it on 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏com. You can still get this book, because those of you who continue to believe the Democrats have your interest, you must read it. See how some in the party have hijacked the entire party. Sir, over to you.
Right. So there are two important. There's two important data points. Okay. First of all, 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗖𝗔𝗐 is the senator, the Republican senator, is leading the Judiciary Committee. First, he has written a letter to the FBI. Chris Wray, the former FBI director, has asked an information intelligence report that came in to be withdrawn. What did it say in that IIR? It said the Chinese were printing a number of fake mail-in ballots and were shipping in to the United States, which were being used. Okay, the first. So he has asked FBI, this has been declassified by the current FBI director, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and he says declassified. He says investigate who ordered this IIR to be withdrawn, and what's the rationale. Give us the information, what exactly happened and what's happening. It's the first. The second one, which is a dialogue between the Albany office of the FBI and their counterpart in elsewhere, and about seizing fake driver's license, in 2-3 locations. They picked it up, and this is all going to whom? It was all going to students. Okay, for two purposes. One is for election, and second is they can use it to gain access into bars and other kinds of areas, and potentially where that would go, no one knows. All the stuff around fentanyl. So the story is that these two information have been discovered by the current FBI director, and that is now declassified, and the data is with 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗖𝗔𝗐, and he in turn has issued a letter to the FBI to do a complete investigation and come back. So we'll probably uncover more as the days go, but there is no smoke without fire. So we have been saying this since about 2020, but now it is slowly coming to light. Sree?
Sir, I just want to read one paragraph, page 201 from this book. Okay. This is the Chinese people talking amongst themselves. Using our friends in the various state election offices, we have decreased dramatically the requirements for mail-in ballot verification. These were done in Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Which four states did Biden win at the last minute in the wee hours of the morning? All these four states.
Exactly.
Sir, we wrote this thing 4 years ago, viewers. We had all the data. It's just that if he had come out and written it as a factual report, Sridharji may not have gone to jail. I definitely would have gone to jail. But at least we did our part. We have recorded what played down in history at that time. This is going to be there forever. It's up to you. If you want to really know what happened in 2020 elections, you can buy this book. Ebook is available, and as well as the printed version is available. It's only available in the United States.
And the two Senate seats which swung in
Georgia. Yes. Very true, very true. Oh my God, mayhem. These buggers are now keeping quiet because they know they have been caught with their hand in the cookie jar. Sir, last topic on markets. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow morning when the markets open?
When the markets open, we are pricing in a hike of anything from $3 to $5 a barrel. $3 to $5 a barrel. Already the West Texas crude is about 11% up, and the Brent is about 10% up. So we can expect to see oil prices in the 80 to 85. We're just around the $77 right now, but you can expect to see $3 to $5 hike. When we wake up on Monday morning, Sree. That's number one. Number two is that you will also begin to see some movement in the currency markets, depending on who is shorting and where they see a significant amount of the risk in that area. So you'll see both in the currency as well as in the energy markets, significant price movements. You may not. You may also see, to a limited extent, market movements in the equity side, at least in the U.S. markets and the European markets. Probably Asian markets will also see very small or limited movements. But animal spirits is one thing that can drive hell for leather. So therefore, let's see how the animal spirits pay out in terms of people's apprehensions and fear. And that would happen only when you have any kind of contamination effects. One important thing that we have not covered, the Modi ji side discussion with President Trump. So when this happened, when Modi was delayed, he asked Modi to come to United States before he went to Croatia, that particular meeting, right? And Modi ran the riot act both on the tariffs, and he has told Trump in no uncertain terms that you have been holding us up on the tariffs and your requests have been unreasonable. We have agreed to cut the deficit. We have agreed on the tariff percentages. We have even agreed access to the agricultural and dairy markets. And you guys are telling us that for dairy, that you will supply without validation or animals, those which has animal fat. Animal fat dairy products is a no-go. You tell your negotiators to back off. We will do the deal, and we will also do the deal and reduce tariffs and give you access to the markets. But this should be backed by the reciprocal, which is namely, if I'm going to buy oil and gas from you, you have to give me at the same price at which the Russians are giving us, because it is an important part of the bill. Please don't come and tell me as to what your market is. 10 years ago when we spoke, we were different. Today we are the 5th largest retail market in the world. 5th largest, because the largest retail market is the United States, which US has used for its advantage for time immemorial. But now India is saying we have risen. We have a large domestic retail market. So therefore, we have the ability to construct trading agreements with other countries, and there are many willing countries outside of the United States. So I think he ran a very clear rioting act using the same numbers that President Trump was putting to him. If you're not capable of delivering, no problem, let's walk out. Remember, close to $80 billion of exports from you come to us, and $120 billion of exports go from us to you. That $80 billion is not a small number relative to, and it is going to be growing and double probably in the next 3 years. So when you look at my next 4-year terms, we have a target to raise bilateral trade to 500 billion. Okay, all these kind of tactics and techniques is not going to work. So if you want to negotiate with me on fair, so we can do a win-win business. As far as the Pakistani is concerned, I don't need you. I don't need your help. And we have very clearly stated that any act of terror, we consider it as a war. There's no more dealing with any of you. We know how to deal with it. So this is a clear warning. You're meeting your friend, Mr. Munir. Please tell him, if there is the next terrorist activity, we won't even bother. We will attack Pakistan. So I think it was a very clear message from Modi ji, and very curt. Not only, and he said, I'm sorry, I cannot come because I have a Croatian prior commitment, then I have to go to Orissa. But I extend my invitation to you to come to India for the Quad meet that's happening end of the year. I think he has agreed to that. So this is after this, Trump backpedaled on the ceasefire. He's also backpedaled on the tariffs. He says, we have a tariff deal and we are going to do a tariff deal, afraid that India could walk out. And in the meanwhile, Russians have come and told India, Modi ji, I will give you oil and you will have permanent supply of oil, not at the market prices, but at a substantive discount. So he's in a win-win situation. Unfortunately, Trump got himself into a wriggle, and he's not only got himself into a wriggle. Actually, this program would have been Trump's foreign policy in disarray, but because of the Iran situation, we changed the structure. But he's pretty much upset all of his allies. Japan, no deal done in G7. EU, no deal done in G7. Korean president came and waited. Korea is one of the biggest trading partners of the United States. No deal done. So the whole G7, besides G7 itself being a disaster, the Trump left the meeting, leaving many of his partners in disgust.
Thank you so much, sir. And we have a few questions for you. Viewers, we may not be able to take all your questions. We're going to do our best because there is a follow-up conversation with the three good generals, General Rajiv Narayanan, General Dushyant Singh, and General Ravi Shankar. And this will be coming live on 3 different channels. That will be starting at 8:30 p.m. IST. So do come back for that one. This is different aspect of the incident that took place in the last 24 hours. So last word on the crash investigation. I am still seeing a lot of possibilities of maintenance crew being sloppy in this. That's what I am seeing from all the investigation, although nothing officially has been said. What's your indications? Any reports from your side that could also be an act of terror?
No, I don't have reports which indicate that it's an act of terror. But which we have indicated, whosoever has been doing the maintenance work for the Boeing fleet, whether it is the Turkish, they have been abysmal. I want you to play out some of the videos by Josh Hawley and others who conducted an inquiry on the affairs of Boeing, where they ripped them apart by saying that the Boeing has cut corners in every way in terms of trying to make profits, and in the process creating problems, Sree. So therefore, whether that was deliberately exploited by the maintenance guys, we don't know, but very clearly the issue is around maintenance. And now what you're seeing in India is every second, every third plane afraid that something could potentially happen, ringing Mayday. To me, I think the chairman of Tata Group Chandru has also come out and indicated that they have issues to fix on the maintenance side. So I have not heard anything on the sabotage or the.
Thank you so much, sir. And now let's jump to some questions. First question from 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗧𝗧. Sir, there are no radiation leakage. How is it a success? We hit Pakistan nuclear base. There was radiation leakage and tremors are still felt.
No, I have not heard anywhere. Even IAEA examined as far as Pakistan is concerned. So there was no radiation leak. As far as, they said that these tremors could be, there's a lot of, weapons that were stored, and the impact of that was the cause of the tremors, but not because of any nuclear explosion or whether there was radiation, Sree.
Srinivasan Iyengar wants to know, sir, TV picture showed Iran had shifted some critical nuclear materials from Fordow. Will it pose threat to Israel and the world still? What's next for USA and Israel?
What's next for USA and Israel? Next for you, brace yourself for all forms of attacks, most notably terrorist. And then Iran will continue to, launch, whatever weaponry they have. They seem to be getting continuous supply. Whether the Turkish are also supplying, we don't know, but certainly the Chinese have been supplying to them, quite a bit of weaponry. Russia has also agreed to supply. I don't know how Russia will supply, given it has got its own problems fighting Ukraine. But there is definitely, quite a good supply that Iran has been using, notwithstanding the fact that Israel has been relentlessly attacking Iran. But I'm sure others would have covered not only Mossad, but there's also other people from the Israeli IDF who are now inside Iran, not from Israel, inside Iran, launching attacks. So it's really, fascinating. I think we probably will share more details in our next program, what exactly the capacity that Israel has built inside Iran to continue to sustain this.
Sir, will India be allowed to get Iranian oil? I don't think India needs it anymore, right? If this kind of deal comes from Russia and US, India will not need oil from Iran.
No, I think that though the Prime Minister Modi has spoken with the President of Iran, I don't think...
Արկոզյան, right.
Yeah, Արկոզյան. Yeah, so he has not, his oil is not... India, I think, has built a very good integrated alternate supply. So it's not going to be impacted as a result.
Next question from 𝗤𝗙𝗎. What will be the impact on Chabahar port?
Big question mark. Very big question mark. Because right now, the initial reports indicate chaos inside Iran. Lot of people trying to flee Iran in whatever vehicle that is available across. And so only, I think, as the dust settles, by all indications, there is an imminent regime change in Iran. This current regime may not last, and both United States, Israel, and some of the local West Asia, Middle Eastern allies may participate in that decision and have a regime which is less fundamental and far more open to be replacing. Whether that is going to be the former Shah of Iran's family, we don't know, but at the moment he is making a lot of noise.
Dilip Chenchani wants to know, is it true enriched uranium was taken out 2 days before the attack from Fordow?
Don't believe so. Iran has claimed that they have put in a domain which is inaccessible. That is their claim in the same place. But whether that is the case or not, we don't know. And usually when Trump makes a statement, it's just, there's a lot of fluster. We have to wait and see the extent of damage that they have unleashed before we can come to any conclusion what exactly is the situation in these 3 sites.
Krishnamurthy wants to know, did Pakistan and China aid Iran in building the Fordo facility? Was Munir's White House visit linked to this? Perhaps to discuss or share intel on the site's blueprint.
It's very well known that the Iran's capability was built with the help of the Chinese, the Pakistanis, and the North Koreans. So all three have helped in building this capability.
Israel also, remember that.
Yeah.
In fact, Iran was one of the first countries to recognize the existence of Israel in the 1940s, 48.
Correct.
One of the first countries. I mean, you had a sizable Jewish population in Iran. Viewers, you need to look at my story on Shukracharya. Many of you write contemptuous comments. I don't care. I have cited the research material also. If you have a problem, go and read the research material, find counter material and present that as evidence. Don't just come and tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about. Just go and watch that video. 10 minutes, it's worth its time. And let's take a look at the next question, sir. Thought provocateur, thank you so much. Trump is for one-off strike and chest thumping, not war. Your thoughts, sir?
Absolutely. Yeah, Trump is not for war at all. He wants to. There's a very great saying, how do you win a war without fighting a battle? So the story is that's his kind of strategy. He prefers deterrence. He has never managed a war. He's a business guy. So I think this is very unusual action. And I think he talked about Russia, Ukraine. Neither Russia is listening to him, nor Ukraine is listening to him. He talked about the Gaza, and so that Gaza has now taken a backseat.
Israel also is not listening to him, according to many.
Has taken a backseat, and then he's got the Iran situation. I think to me, is Trump capable? Is Trump capable? I do not believe Trump is capable of negotiating. He's very much a domestic US president. How do you run strong domestic US policies? What is needed for the US middle class and the US business community, notably the SME, small businesses. So he is not an international global president. He's not a guy who is kind of well-versed and versatile in international politics, Sree.
Thank you so much, sir. What a riveting session. Viewers, I hope you got information about the underlying elements of the India-US Free Trade Agreement talks. July 9th is the magic date. After that, the bigger numbers kick in. So let's wait and see. I think that something might be signed before that, because like Sridharji mentioned, Trump needs a big victory in the tariff column. Let's wait and see. Thank you once again, sir. Namaskar.
Namaskar, and have a wonderful day, Sree.